I mean, yes. Well, here's the thing. I think that, like, there are two types of people in the world. There are people like my wife who likes to have a glass of wine with dinner every night.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are people like me. I don't want to drink 6 nights of the week, but that 7th night, I want to have all of those glasses of wine.
6 glasses of wine.
Like that's that. And I think that those are just two very different but legitimately acknowledgeable personality types. There are freedom dieters and there are rules dieters. I'm a rules dieter. I like things to be strict, and then I'm either on or off. And by the way, that translates to every facet of my life.
Right.
I'm either, training like shit or training balls to the walls all the time. I'm either dieting hard or I'm just kind of loosey-goosey. I'm either, like in a relationship, like my marriage, like before my marriage, I was a whore. And so I'm on or off in every single phase of my life. And that includes work when I'm writing. I can either write 5,000 words a day for 2 weeks straight and be on point all the time, or sometimes I have a hard time like mustering up the wherewithal to send an email. I'm on or off. That's just how I am. Nagar is pretty even across the board. She's never going to have days where she's completely off. She's just not. She's even keeled, and she can be moderate.
Yeah.
I'm not good with moderation.
It sounds like the message you're trying to deliver there is just like self-reflection and understanding like who you are and playing those strengths.
Right, and just you can't do too many things that run completely counter to. Got a dog?
Yeah.
All right, let the dog in.
It's all right. Go ahead. Sorry.
My dogs are outside. No, my dogs are in daycare today. But yeah, you can't do too many things that run completely counter to your nature, because then you wind up like cultivating cognitive dissonance, and it's gonna be really difficult for you to resolve that. So for me, cheat days are great because I love being strict 6 days a week and then partying 1 day a week. Which is, by the way, also how I when I'm having, when I'm like in a phase where I'm partying a lot, like that's also how I like to manage my drinking. I won't drink most nights of the week, but then one night, like I'll go out and have several drinks and need to take a cab home. And that's just different for me. Like we're just different people in that regard. And figure out if you're a rules dieter who needs to be really, really strict, or if you're a freedom dieter who does well with guidelines.
Right.
Nagar just gives guidelines, I give rules, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. One of the things I like about you, John, is you seem very authentic. You seem to try and be who you are all the time, and you don't seem to be wanting or willing to sacrifice that for any particular reason. I know this is kind of off topic with fitness, but like, how do people work on finding their authenticity?
That is a great question. I think if you just always conduct yourself the way that you do around, the way to be authentic is not to conduct yourself like you're on a first date, and not to conduct yourself like you're around your 5 best friends that you grew up with, because then you'll just act crazy. But if you act the way that you do when you bring the girl you're going to marry to meet those 5 knuckleheads, who you should be on the internet. Like the day that I brought Nagar to like meet all of my friends that I grew up with, who like when I'm around them we could just be complete idiots. The way that I act then is the most true reflection is who I am. I'm not on my best behavior, and I'm not on my worst behavior either. I'm a guy who can live a normal life. So I think that to cultivate that, you just got to get really comfortable meeting new people and figuring out where your line is for how aggressively you can be. You've seen me speak at conferences. Like I don't care. Like, for me, it's like I know that I'm giving great content, so I can present that content however the fuck I want. Doesn't matter. When I was speaking at a conference in Vegas, I made some sort of joke about like dick size, and the room got super quiet. I was just like, oh, it's so exciting to be speaking at this conference. Like so many amazing people here. So and so's here, Eric Presley's here, and you know what, guys? I have it on good authority that every dude in this room has a 9-inch cock, which is great.
Oh, God.
the room got deathly quiet, and then they exploded in laughter. But for that minute, they were like, "Oh my God." But that's who I am. Because like, if I want to go up and I want to make a dick joke, like I know that if you sit and listen to me for that 90-minute presentation, you're going to learn enough to double your business or help your clients more or whatever else. So I have no problem saying that because it just lets them know I'm here as Roman. I'm here as me, not
Yeah.
here as whoever these people want me.
You think that some people just maybe like are trying to think too much about, if I do this, what will they think about that? And if I do
Well,
this,
yeah,
can I get
that's
them to do
the thing.
that?
Like every single decision you make, and on a smaller scale, every action you take is simply exchanging one set of complications and benefits for another. I can't tell you the secret to success, as the old saying goes, but the key to failure is trying to please everyone. And this goes in business, in life, in dating, in relationships. It's everywhere. And if you don't accept that something you say is going to piss someone off and you try to avoid doing that and you try to structure things in a completely, apolitical way, or, you're going to wind up blending in with everyone else. You're not going to stand out. One thing that I will say for me is that people either love me or hate me. They either like, oh, this guy's great, he's got good information, I love that he's sort of a dick and whatever. Or they're just like, this guy is offensive, he drops F-bombs, oh my goodness, did he say that? That's crazy, he's a chauvinist, like, whatever. Whatever it is, hold on. Whatever it is that people think about me, they're free to think, but I would rather have 10,000 fans who were just like, he is my guy. He's the only guy I want to listen to. I would rather have 10,000 of those than 100,000 or even a million people who are just like, oh yeah, he's got some fitness information. But ultimately, what's different about him than Craig Ballantyne or Joel Marion or whatever else?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, being me is like the secret to my success, and it's also the thing that makes it the most fun. I get to be me for a living, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have to work that hard to do that.
That's good. I've heard that kind of referred to as the 20, 40, 60 rule. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Where at 20 years old, you think everybody's thinking about you. And at 40 years old, you realize you don't care what people are thinking about you. And at 60, you realize nobody was ever thinking about you. They were all thinking about themselves.
Yeah. Particularly when they were 20.
Particularly when they're 20. Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really great. That's perfect. So yeah, I mean, what happens if you sit around trying to think about a way to do everything right? You wind up doing nothing at all.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. And I mean, I could give you examples from business. I could give you examples from my personal life, whatever you want. Like I can help illustrate that point. But most important thing is that eventually you have to come out and say something that other people aren't going to agree with. And only then are you actually taking a stand and getting noticed.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, John, I usually ask people for my final question what your secret to success is, but you just went straight there when we were talking about authenticity. So I guess I'll ask you, where can people find more about you?
Sure. I'm all over the internets. You can find me primarily for my fitness stuff at romanfitnesssystems.com. If you're interested more in business and more other types of information, you can check out johnromanello.com. But also Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, John Romaniello. If you only check out my Instagram, by the way, if you want to see pictures of my dogs. That's all there is. So if you're not interested in dog pictures, don't check out my Instagram. Go to Facebook. There's more stuff there.
Awesome, man. Well, John, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you getting on the call.
It's really my pleasure, man. Thank you so much for having me.